Tomorrow. I'm going to be gone at a doctor's appointment. If you had me for L2 a couple of years ago, you know that my dad subs for me a lot. So he'll be the one that's here tomorrow. Pretty good chance he won't remember the calc. I mean, he was a math teacher a long time ago. But he's pretty good chance he won't remember the calc, so I would try to lean on each other for help if you need it, want it. My goal today is to do as much of analytical limits as I can. There's no way I'm going to finish the whole thing. But then whatever we get done would be something you could work on tomorrow for sure, and that'll easily take the class hour, I'm sure. And then by Friday, I would say your goal would be to make sure to have the first 3 sections all the way done, and then to get as much of the 4th section done as you can. We'll finish going over section 4 on Friday. And then, you know what? I just realized I haven't been writing on the calendar at all. So I want to say there's 8 sections in chapter 1. And what we had been doing in previous years is, rather than waiting all 8 sections to give you a test at the end of unit 1, we try to do a test every half chapter. And then that way it's not so much info to learn at one time per test. So most likely we would test on 1.1 to 1.4. I have no idea where Mr. Stoker is. I mean, I know he's roughly same where we are, but I didn't ask him today. We had a different meeting. So I'm thinking roughly the earliest we would have the test would be Tuesday. So if we finish 1.4 on Friday, which is an if, I mean, I really don't know, then Monday I would try to go over any kind of questions you might have, / review 1.1 to 1.4, talk about what topics would be on the test. One thing I can tell you right now about tests, it is most definitely not the same as pre-calc. I will not be giving you a practice test that has the same exact types of questions. So that definitely is something that's going to be different for you, so it's probably going to be a different method of studying. I'm assuming in pre-calc what you did was study the types of questions that were on the practice test, because there's usually quite a few. And then you would do a handful of each type or something like that. I give you what topics will be on the test. And so it's just kind of a different method of preparing. Like, I'll go over how to do it with you. I'm just not a fan of copy-paste testing because it doesn't help you out in the future, I guess. Helps you out with tests, which can be said for, that's great, but it doesn't help you out if you're going into a major that needs calc. I'd be screwing you over down the line, so I don't want to do that. Analytical limits. That basically just means finding the limit from an equation, no picture, no table, no calculator. That can be better or worse. Up on the whiteboard, I wrote the 7 types that I could think of off the top of my head. I believe in your packet it has 5? 6. Well, number 2 doesn't really make sense to me. Basic limit theorems, I don't even know what that stands for. I'm assuming that represents maybe the 2 that I have that aren't written here. I don't know. So up there, the 2 that I have written are complex, simplified. The order doesn't matter. I have complex, simplify, and I have piece functions. I'm thinking that's what this packet means by basic limit theorems. I don't know. Okay, so plug in, which is probably what you're the most used to, and factoring, which is number 2. Those are the most common 2 types. And that's probably what you guys focused on last year, just to get used to limits. There definitely is different types though. Rationalizing, I know you guys have heard of rationalizing. Okay, sweet. I was trying to remember who was the person we gotta call on every day. Do you remember what rationalizing is? Perfect. Yeah. So you guys, I believe every time you guys did it, there is when there was a square root on the bottom, and you multiply top and bottom by the same square root to get rid of it. Okay. And that is definitely true. I won't get into it. Like, to me, that's just stupid though. Like, you don't even need to do that, but it somehow is proper math. It was ingrained before you had calculators, and that's why you needed it. So, but rationalizing doesn't only mean that. Rationalizing just means you multiply by the square root to make it turn into something that's not. That can be on the top of a fraction or the bottom. So rationalizing is a method we're going to use, but it doesn't have to be just the bottom. So that's kind of weird for you at first. Complex simplify. Do you want to call it somebody? Definitely. Good. Count 5 people and call them that person. Because that's all I do. But now you got to feel guilty about it. No. Elena. Oh, I didn't ask a question. Oh, unless you want to answer something, go for it. I was going to ask, do you remember what a complex fraction is? Do you guys remember hearing about complex fractions? Okay.
Like a fraction beneath a fraction? Or
Yeah. It's when you have a fraction within a fraction. They call that a complex fraction because it's not supposed to be a thing. And so you go through the work to make it so that it's not a fraction within a fraction. And frequently that will find the answer to the limit. So that's a method. Special trig limits, they're actually written next to number 5 on your packet. There's only 2 of them, and they have to be identical to that. So it's easy to spot them. L'Hopital's, which I think is spelled different on this one, yeah. It's somebody's name. I believe that's the French way of spelling it. That's how I was always taught it. But then a lot of the textbooks now spell it like La Hospital. And there's probably a bunch of ways to pronounce it for all I know. I just call it L'Hopital. I definitely have heard La Hospital. It bothers me. Only because it sounds like hospital and it just doesn't seem right. You're not going to learn that until Unit 3, so you don't have to worry about that one. Piece functions. Elena, can you choose somebody for me? Yeah, what are those?
I actually don't remember.
Oh, that's a bummer. Confer. I'll take a drink of coffee. You can try to figure out with a lot of the class. She wants some assistance.
Candace is trying to help me out over here. There's like multiple.
A piece function is when you have that big, huge, curvy brace. Like the curvy parentheses sounds stupid. No, it's a brace. They call it a brace. It's a curvy bracket, yeah. So to me, it's the sideways seagull, like how you were taught to draw seagulls in art. Okay, so you've got a brace, and then it will have 2 or more equations, which have specific x values. So a piece function is pieces of multiple equations. Your teacher might have called it a piecewise function. I don't know. I've heard both terms, so I like piece function because it's shorter. Call the next person. Oh, you're looking for something specific. I like it. Oh, okay. I'm trying to think how to phrase the question. Actually, we'll pause your question because I can't even think how to phrase it without just directly saying it. I would think most students find that list kind of imposing, because it feels like you're gonna have to do a whole bunch of things. The nice thing about this list is only one method works. If you are given a problem, if your problem has a square root in it, first thing you're going to do, plug in a number. If it works, that's your answer. Second thing you would do, if it didn't work, is you would pick one of the other 6. Now, you're not gonna have to go through the list and try them one at a time. If it's a square root problem, are you gonna try to factor it? No. Rationalizing, well, that's for square roots. I would try rationalizing. It's not a complex fraction, I wouldn't do that. It's not trig, I wouldn't do that. Like, it's not a piece function. So the nice thing about this list is it's a 2-step list. It does look complicated because there's a ton of methods, but you generally just know to try one of them almost right away. So it's not as bad as it seems. It's just gonna take a long time because there's 7 methods to go over. Okay, first method, plug in. What does that mean to do? Which I think you already know, but not just a test. Okay? Yes. So right below this, I think there were some examples. Yep, A. Let's do A together. First method we try is to plug in, so I would do what with A? So what would I write next? Do I write the word limit? No. If you are putting a number in and actually trying to get a number answer, you don't need to rewrite limit. As soon as you are putting numbers in, it's just little actual math work. So 3 times 4 minus 5 times 2 plus 4. Oh my God, am I hearing calculators? Why did I hear the slide of the calculator on this one? 12 minus 10 is 2 plus 4. Holy man, you guys need to work on the mental math here. This is like when everybody tried taking out the calculator for the quiz. It's not meant. I am very anti-calculator unless the problem is written for a calculator, which is usually obvious because it's like crazy decimal numbers that nobody would do in their head. Good. Mila,
Yeah.
you calling somebody else?
Owen.
Oh, that one. I know. Too many names. You gave the air for me. It's overload. Oh, and I'm gonna change B. Or, why is B super easy right now?
Because it's just a substitution.
Yeah, you just put in 2 and you get a number answer, it's done. To me, those are stupid. You're barely ever gonna get them, because if you did get them, it would be worthless to learn all these methods. And I wanna know you know how to do the other methods. And on the AP test, you will get at most 1 question like this. So we are basically rarely ever going to do plug-in. Mainly because you tested on all the other ones. But the plug-in is always the first thing you try, because if you can do it, it's awesome and you're done. You know what number I'm gonna change this to?
You're
Is
gonna
it-
change it to -1.
Nice, there we go. Oh no. Great thing is you're done answering. Now somebody has to tell me how to factor.
So I get to choose.
You do. This is a big one. They're probably nervous. They're gonna avoid all eye contact if possible.
So well, I'm Trevor right now.
He gets called in every day. Actually, yesterday I let you call somebody else, didn't I? All right, you got answers. But absolutely, if somebody's getting overpicked, we're not doing it. I need some help. I forgot how to factor. Ooh, this is a bummer. Let's back up a second then. Why can't we plug in -1? Yeah, it would be an indeterminate, or, you know, math illegal, whatever we want to call it. Can't divide by 2. As a class of intelligent people, what are we gonna do? No? Oh, I should retract that statement? Oh dear. I accidentally called you guys dumb yesterday, so I need to like,
Just called me dumb, so.
no, I said the rest of the class was dumb.
Oh.
You called yourself dumb. And obviously I didn't mean it, so I'm retracting it, telling you guys you're intelligent. How would I remember how to factor this as intelligent people? Because most of you are not gonna remember how to factor sum of cubes.
I don't know if this is right, but can you just take an X? Oh, no, you can't take an X out.
No, that would be super easy and that'd be awesome.
Wouldn't we just multiply?
Can't just cancel an X, yeah.
Would we multiply the top by the bottom and the bottom by the top? Or no? Is that something?
No, because that would cancel out and get you back to what you started. That's not a bad thought though. That's like, almost like rationalizing-ish.
Yeah.
You gotta factor the top into the sum of cubes.
Yeah.
So it'll be X.
You remember sum of cubes?
Yeah,
That's awesome. Wait, don't tell me yet then.
okay.
I wanted this class of intelligent people to tell me how to find it out. What would you do when you are at home? Slash, I had to show my son this last night too, because he forgot this. You guys are like so dependent on everything, but yet the things you're dependent on, you forget how to use them. What are you gonna do if you wanna look up information that you don't know? Yeah, you look it up. You just type it in. Sum of cubes. Quit being dependent on other people here. Second you get to college, you're ditched on your own. Your professor has like 1 office hour a week and you'll never get to see him. You are very independent, so you have to independently learn. Are you confused because there's plus and minus? Okay, plus and minus is because sum and difference of cubes have the same setup. You want the one with the plus sign, probably on the top. Does it say plus on top, minus on bottom? Okay, you want to pick the one that has the plus on the top and follow the symbols on the top. So how would I factor x cubed plus 1? Should I take a drink and you can confer with a bunch of people? Okay, I'm good with that. I want you guys to learn how to be independent. You can't just rely on me to like force feed you info.
I'm sorry, X squared minus X plus X. I've got this one. I've had this learned since sophomore year. X plus 1. Then X, because you have to have that plus 1, right? You can't stop it. And then it would be X squared minus X plus, or technically, X.
Now, I'm going off the top of my head. Am I remembering that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I use it like twice a year, so it's, I 100% look up information all the time. Brains do not remember everything. That's why they write textbooks, and that's why they make web pages, to keep information. So how do we factor x cubed plus 1? I heard some talking and working.
First one would be x plus 1.
And you chose the plus because that was a plus, and because the plus was on the top, I'm going to follow the top symbols.
So x squared minus x
1x, but yes, I mean, like, that's what you get when you multiply.
plus 1. Plus 1.
Perfect. I thought I heard you, I just wanted to make sure. Good. Trevor? I feel like that deserves something because you probably had the highest stress question of the day. I had to go to Target, so I refilled stuff. I love that it's Halloween time, so like it's easy to buy candy. Good call. Caramel apple suckers and Skittles, I think, will be the first to go. I do. Okay, you want to choose who's gonna help me with the rest of this?
Walter cancel.
What do I do now?
Cancel out the X plus one.
Good. So there's an x plus 1 factor on top and bottom. And I know a lot of you wanted to cancel an x right away. You can only cancel if it's written as multiplication on the entire top bottom. So these are both being factors, like being multiplied. This is multiplied by 1. But now I can cancel. As soon as I cancel, if I were being annoying and we had a lot of room to write, you're actually supposed to rewrite the problem as the limit is a limit as x approaches -1 of x squared minus x plus 1 equals. But you will find in our packets that there's very little room to write, so it's kind of a compromise. And now I try plugging in again to see if it works now. -1 squared is +1 minus -1 plus 1 plus 1, 3. Oh, Walter, you answered, right?
Yeah.
Oh, question, go for it first.
Why can't you just plug in 2 from the beginning?
Oh, I changed the problem.
Oh.
It was too easy. We're smarter. Yeah, absolutely. I believe this entire section is set up to allow you to plug in a number and get an answer. Is that correct? I don't know if you guys tried them yet. Yeah, okay. I was assuming the whole section was plugged. Can you call in somebody for me?
Marble.
Do you remember what a graph looks like when a factor cancels?
Isn't it like, it's like a circle or something?
Perfect. The graph will look like this parabola with a hole at the point -1, 3. This would be the x value, y value. So if you were to graph x squared minus x plus 1 on your calculator, and if you were to graph x cubed plus 1 over x plus 1 on your calculator, they would look identical. But if you try the trace button and type in -1 on this function, it would say, probably say error or domain, I don't know what it would say. Non-real answer, something like that. I forget, there's a bunch of different error messages. But if you graph this one and plug in -1, you would get 3. So our goal with factoring is to find an equivalent equation that would let us plug in a number and get an answer. So we basically try to fake that there would be no hole. There is a hole in the original function at -1, 3. That's how the factoring one works. So when we're doing limits, we wanted to know from the left and from the right where would be the hole. So with an equation, this is how we manipulate it and get answers. This is one way. There's 5 others. Okay, factoring. Do I need to go over with you how to factor with a number greater than 1? Do you need a refresher on that? When I say number greater than 1, I meant on the x squared. Okay, Trevor, since nobody's gonna answer, what are you gonna do when you forget? Nice. I'm hoping you guys will not just type in factor this, because you'll find that answer too, but that won't help you on the test. Look up how to factor. All right, let's try to go to, I think rationalizing is probably next. Yeah, there was a factoring. No, keep going. Factoring, there we go. I think this section is quite a few pages. Okay, so I've got the limit as x approaches -1 of that. I've got a picture, which is cheating, because now I know what the answer is gonna be when I'm done. I don't like that. Marble.
Second.
You or whoever you're gonna choose. What would I try first? You would try asking Marble? No, it's not answering. He called on you. What would you try to do first to find this answer? No matter what, the first thing you're supposed to try is,
First thing you're supposed to try is plugging it in, then you see that you can't.
Good.
do about this.
pro tip, plug in the bottom first. Because that's how we pretty much get every single math illegal thing. The top has a lot more info. It's not that it's hard, but like, if you plug it in the bottom and you get 0 right away, you don't have to plug it in the top, so. Okay, good. Plug-in doesn't work, which is like as expected. The rationalizing method for limits is actually like two different ideas melded together. Conjugate pairs was when you guys did imaginary numbers. I don't know how long ago that was. Did you do that last year?
Yeah.
You did? Okay, good. I know you did ELGE too, but like, we'll pretend 2 years ago is not long, right? You used it to make the denominator a real number. Like if you had 5 minus I, you would multiply the top and bottom by 5 plus I. And then you did that purposely because then those were called the difference of squares. And so when you multiply them out, the middle term cancels and it's a real number. So this, it's not actually called conjugate pairs. I don't even know what the method's gonna be called. I just call it conjugate pairs because in your head, that's how you picture it. So rationalizing is the idea you multiply by a square root to make it not a square root. Conjugate pairs is the idea you multiply by the difference of squares pair, so there's no middle term. We're going to do those both on this. We're going to do those both on this, but we're going to do it to the top. And it seems stupid because the bottom's the issue. But these questions are going to be purposely picked out so it works. So don't worry about why it works yet. It's just, we're trying things to manipulate equations. That's what we're getting used to this year. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by root x plus 2 plus 1. So this involves a square root and a conjugate pair. Seth, do you want to be mean and call on somebody who's got to multiply that out for me?
Yeah, sure.
I love it. She's even going specific person. Donald, can you help me multiply that out?
I believe I can.
Okay.
So if we multiply it out, would you just want it to be, well, the top one, it would be x plus 2. Yeah, it's still minus 1. Because of the difference of squares there. And then difference of squares there, the square root, and then the bottom.
Whoa, I think you lost every, and then that. Why is that all there is? Why is there a middle term? Because we're foiled.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't say you're wrong, so why isn't there a middle term? You're absolutely right, this is correct.
Oh,
Why is there no middle term?
oh, is the cancel out? The
Yes.
ones?
Square root of x plus 2 times 1 would be positive. Negative 1 times square root of x plus 2 would be negative. Cancel out, no middle term. Root x plus 2 times root x plus 2 is x plus 2. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Your top was perfect, I wasn't saying you were wrong.
Okay.
Bottom, I will give you a tip. Don't multiply it out.
Yeah, I was gonna do just x plus one times square root of x plus 2 plus 1.
Yeah. It will not help you out to multiply it out. It actually will make the problem a million times worse. Okay, Donald,
Yes.
we need somebody to tell me why this is next. You did a great job, by the way.
Oh, cool, thank you. Can I use the number?
Yep.
Anywhere you want me to start? Okay,
Let's make the number small. I'm only a person, I only have 10 fingers.
fair enough. I think seven.
Why are you picking a number if you're trying to pick a specific person?
Oh, no.
I know, Seth, you can't pick him, I'm sorry.
What's your name?
Oh my God, there's a lot of work for a number here.
Oh,
Caden,
Hayden? Your question? Too much work?
no, why did you ask me if you could choose a number?
Oh, no, I thought that would help.
Oh, who?
I don't know. Still
Okay,
working on names.
okay, all right, you're confusing me. Let's go with Caden. I was hoping you could tell me why this is gonna work out nicely. I don't know what that means. You're correct, but explain to them what that means. What happens to the top? Top simplifies to x plus 1. Conveniently doing. Why does that work out great? Because x plus 1, the top, can factor and cancel with the x plus 1 on the bottom. Very nice. This problem now turns into limit as x approaches negative 1. What's on the top? 1. Good. Don't just erase the top. That's a common mistake. Okay, so I did my rationalization technique. Now I'm gonna plug in negative 1, see if it works. Let's do the 1. 1 over square root of 1 plus 1. Which is nice because that's what the picture shows. If we didn't get 1/2, we probably would have had to start over. And I will guarantee you there will be times this year where I'll make a stupid mistake somewhere in the problem. Nobody calls me out on it because they think they're wrong, and then we'll have the wrong answer. This will be a good reminder for you guys. I make mistakes just like you. If you think I do something wrong, ask me about it. There's a very good chance you're right. It is super easy for me while I'm talking and writing to just overlook something. Okay, I don't know. How do we feel about this? Do you want to spend the time to have you guys try one? Would you like me to move on? Try one? Sure. I think there's one right below it, probably. Yeah. Why don't you guys try that one? See if you can come up with the final answer. Sure. Good luck. Problems with what?
I know, probably not, but, yeah.
I already told you.
I know.
Okay. Should I be a jerk and make this Carl's back and say nobody should count you? Just to start some trouble. Can I tell you how disappointed I am? It was 42 degrees this morning. I had to break my sandal rule. Yeah, I know. I had to wear tennis shoes.
Oh, it doesn't.
Roughly 40 degrees is my cutoff for jacket and pants. 45, 50 is my cutoff for sandals. I was severely disappointed. 2 weeks ago, trying to figure out how not to die at the state fair of heat exhaustion. Now today I had to wear shoes. Minnesota's garbage sometimes. However, we don't get hurricanes. That's cool. Yeah, we don't lose our house every 2 years to a hurricane.
Hurricanes, tornadoes.
Yeah, I don't get why Floridians are so surprised
Nothing
like
like
every
extreme.
time.
Like we get like a bunch of normal stuff, but nothing like too extreme.
Yeah, I don't care if it gets super cold, super hot. I got AC. I got jackets, heaters. Got dangerous animals. Well, in the city. Demetrius, are you feeling really brave?
Oh, no.
Why? Did you even write this down yet?
I'll do it in my head. Can't do 5.
Can we pretend that that's not even an option? Because there's not a chance you did this in your head, are you? Did
If you
you?
put the 5 in the equation, you can't do that. Because if you do 5 plus 4, that's 9, and 9 square root is 3, 3 minus 3 is 0, so you can't do that.
Did you just take that time to tell me why we couldn't plug in 5?
Yeah.
Did you ignore the entire set of work I did on the first problem? I see you wrote it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that because we couldn't plug in the number. That's why you tried that. You are correct, you can't plug in 5.
Yeah.
But that's why we do that all that way.
You can have the square roots in like the denominator, but if you have.
You can.
Isn't that difficult?
Long story short, you were lied to for many years. Square roots are fine on the bottom. Yeah, I know. It's kind of a scam. They did that because you never used to be able to calculate. They used to have tables in the back of textbooks that had square root answers. And when you do long division, you don't want the decimal number on the outside of the box. So you did rationalization, so the decimal number was on the inside of the box. And the bottom number was on the outside. That's the only reason they rationalized. Literally, as soon as you got a calculator, you didn't need the ration. So, I mean, like, you're not wrong, but it's also not right. Anybody feeling brave, want to put it up there? Nice.
Oh, like write it up or just tell me an answer?
If I remember, is your handwriting not like,
It's not good.
yeah, I wasn't gonna say, okay. Yeah, let's not have you write.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's
Is there somebody who is legible? Onyx is brave, but not legible. Nice. Got it? Good. Excellent. I like having you guys come up. Sometimes it feels like you're led too much to the answer when I just ask you to tell me what steps to do, because you kind of follow my lead a little bit. But I think you guys got this anyway. Oh, it's okay, he's not much better. Yeah, the smart board's weird sometimes. Just go with it. Yep. Is this the first time you've written on a smart board? Because you're doing it pretty good for the first, oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, you're doing pretty good. A lot of people get screwed up and put their wrist on it to try to brace themselves, and then that goes really bad. Oh, that's what you were trying to tell me, the square root is starting on the bottom this time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's on top or bottom. You still try the same method to get rid of it.
So these are negative, aren't they?
I don't know, I didn't read it yet. He's writing those stuff, I just didn't look at it. Which threes you talking about?
The first, like the threes when you're multiplying. So
Nope.
just- no?
Nope, they should be 3 plus. So you always have to change the symbol in between them. If you didn't, you would end up with middle. Okay, I am super impressed, except for one facet. What do you think that one thing would be? Let's say I have to look at this on a test.
Oh, there's too much like in different places.
You're at random places. You didn't even follow an order. You just started going where there was free space. Now, you obviously got more room to write on tests, but yeah, you did great. So the bottom is, I think, where some people were gonna get stuck because it was a 5 minus an x. And if you remember from algebra and pre-calc, you can factor a -1 out and flip and reverse the numbers. So you factor a -1 out and it becomes -1 times x minus 5. That was the step where I was expecting a lot of you to get stuck. That's why I didn't want to try to like call on somebody to come up to the board and tell me what to do. I'm sure some of you got it, and that's great. That's a really good step. Go ahead.
I'm still a little confused on how you got to that x minus 5. You took out the negative?
It was 9 minus x minus
So
4.
the denominator, when you multiply them out,
Yeah.
becomes 9 minus
I
x
got
plus
to
4.
that point.
Oh, 9 minus 4 is 5.
Oh, okay, got it.
If you left it like this, that would have been tough to see. Yep. That was just combining the 9 and the 4. The negative symbol needs to distribute.
So you can subtract.
Maybe I should have talked about that too, like that might have been a mistake for a handful. This is absolutely correct.
-1 out. So -1 x plus 5.
And then from there it goes to here, and then to here, and then here and up around. How are we feeling on that? Go for it.
Instead of doing 3 plus
Oh, sorry, plus, yep.
root x plus 4, I did
3 minus.
I switched them around and did a negative x plus 4
Oh,
minus
sure,
3.
that would work. Yeah, if you reverse these to start with, then what you multiply by would be negative root minus 3. And that absolutely would work too.
Yeah, I thought the same.
Yep, because when you multiply them, it becomes positive. Yeah, there's definitely gonna be multiple ways to get to the end. Oh, we're doing it at 12? My fault, I thought it was 18. Yes, so if you guys can, try the problems with plugging in, which you won't see many of, factoring and rationalizing. They go slow.
Can we start this homework tonight?
I don't care when you start it, you do have all hours tomorrow to work on it.
Okay.
So,
But
it's not like
listed as due tonight?
it's not really, no.
If I put something in late, is that fine? Like, I just put it by one.
I think you left early or were gone when I talked about that.
Yeah.
I just put things in Schoology and make it do that day because I don't wanna like figure out when it's gonna be due. So it doesn't matter if it says late, on time, whatever.
Okay, but if I type my 1.1 in last night, I'll still get like
Yep.
5 points.
Yeah, there's no, it's not like.
Finding that